Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So in the first 7 verses, we saw how Arjuna is confused and why, if knowledge and action both are same, why he needs to fight. Why not give up everything and go to forest? So Krishna is trying to make him understand that how going to forest is not a solution. Rather, developing internal detachment is a better solution. So he's going to continue that in these set of verses, starting with 8. So he's going to say how in the verse 8 that, just a minute, I'm pulling up my verses here. Yes, in the verse 8, Krishna is going to say that how even to maintain our own body, we all have to do something. We have to do some work. Just because we cannot just survive without eating. So he's saying even you go to forest, Arjuna, you cannot survive without eating. You have to do some work, right? You have to find fruits and some kind of roots and fruits in the forest also. You cannot just sit and meditate 24 hours there also. You need to sleep. You need to find some food even if you are living in the forest. So endeavor is always there, because without work, without endeavor, we cannot even maintain our own body. So what to speak of anything else? So he's saying work cannot be avoided. Because work cannot be avoided, learn to do it in the right way. So this is a very famous verse. Some of the kids also might know. Does any of you remember what is the verse 3.9? Have you memorized ever 3.9, which speaks about yagya? Okay, next week the kids can look up what is verse 3.9, and if any of you memorize, we can recite here. Okay, and I'm pretty sure some of you have already memorized. If I give you a hint, you will be able to, but let's do it for the next week. So Krishna says that how work, when done with attachment, leads to bondage, but when it is done for the pleasure of Vishnu, or when it is done with detachment, it does not create sinful reactions. Because the main worry of Arjuna is, oh, if I do, that will cause me sin. If I kill people, that will give me sins. In his context, it will not. So especially if he works, does it as a sacrifice for Vishnu, or does it with detachment, not for personal reasons. Like Prabhupada gives an analogy. If a military man shoots people in a war, he's not punished for that. He's rather rewarded for that. He's paid for it. And if he really does a remarkable feat, he gets a special, what do you call, a special award or something, a special recognition for his contribution and valor. So, but if the same military man comes home and then somebody is like trespassing in his place, or somebody he's just disturbed with his neighbor blaring loud music at night, so he pulls up his gun and goes and shoots them, then he'll be arrested for it. So the same way Prabhupada is saying, or Krishna is saying here, if you work for the sake of Vishnu, you will not be right thing. If you do the right thing under guidance with detachment, there will be no sinful reactions. So learn that instead of giving up work, learn to act properly. And Krishna starts to explain from verses 10 till 16 how in this world we are all so much dependent on things like water, air, fire, all of these things. We cannot live. So once a king was asked, once a king was asked by his group of ministers, or a king basically had a group of ministers. So he told them, ask any question that you want, and let's see if other minister can answer it properly. So one of the ministers asked, what is the most valuable thing? So everybody answered diamonds, rubies, this, that. One of the minister answered water. So the king said, are you a fool? There is so much water in this kingdom. There is lakes and ponds and rivers, and if there's so much plenty of water, and there is regular rainfall. So why is water so precious? So it is the diamond that is so precious. So the minister said, okay, king, I'll prove it when the time comes. So they both went to forest for a hunting, and then there the king became very thirsty. He said, go bring me some water. So I'm really thirsty. So he brings a ball, and then he keeps diamond in it and he brings. So the king says, I'm thirsty. I want water. I don't need diamond. He said, this is the most valuable thing. Please have it. He said, I don't want. I cannot live with the diamond. I need water. He says, that's why I said the most valuable thing is water, because it saves your life. So here Krishna is saying, we are all so much dependent on all these things. So who is giving all these rain? Because without this rain, there will be no food. Without food, we will not be able to survive. This is all being given by the demigods. So Krishna is saying, since we are receiving, we should be grateful to give it back to them through sacrifice. So we are receiving so much from our parents. We are receiving so much from the government. We are receiving so much from other people, from relatives, from the society. We are all maintained by the sacrifice of others. We are all so proud. I have achieved that. I have achieved this. But we are all products of so many people's sacrifice. Our parents, the general society, so many social workers, so many government employees, the public welfare department, so many people maintain the city for us so we could just come out and do what we want to do. So our life is built upon sacrifice. So can we not be one of those contributing to the system back? Yes, right. We should also be becoming the reason for others' better life. So participate in the system. Don't just take all the benefit and run away. So you are a part of a bigger system. The demigods have given you rain, water, air, and this, that, everything, heat, and now you utilized all of it. And then now you're healthy and wealthy, and you're thinking just giving up everything and not making any contribution. He's saying, even if you are like a attached worker, still give it back. And that's where one important verse comes. This is also probably some of you have memorized the 3.13. Yagashishta Santa Muchante Sarvakil Vishay. Anybody else knows the rest of the verse? Muchante Sarvakil Vishay. Bunjate te tu agam papa ye pachanti atma karanat. One who cooks for his own selfish enjoyment, he's a sinner. So what do we do as devotees? We cook for food, but we offer it to Krishna. We offer it to the deities, and then we eat. So it's the same thing. Becoming spiritual is not a big complicated affair. You eat whatever you're eating, offer your water to God. What will happen? Nothing will happen. Actually, you will gain spiritually. Your consciousness will become purified. So learn to offer something in gratitude. Be grateful to your parents, be grateful to the society, and be grateful to the God also who's maintaining everything for us. So even if it is a simple water, offer it to God and then drink that water. So showing some gratitude. So that's what Krishna is saying, that even if you're an attached worker, do some kind of sacrifice. So then you may think, hey, I'm a school going kid. I'm just 10 years old. I'm just 15 years old. What kind of yajna can I do? What kind of sacrifice can I do? You can chant Hare Krishna every day. It does not take a lot, just a few minutes. That is a yajna. That is also a sacrifice for this age. You can offer your food to God before you are paid. You don't know all the rituals. You are in school. You're going to eat. Offer a small prayer. Thank you so much for giving me this food. And thank you to my mom who cooked for it. Thank you to my father who's working for it. And thank you for everybody else who's making it happen. And thank you to you, God, for ultimately offering all of these to us. So that gratitude, you can offer your food. If you know more, you can actually do a proper offering and engage your resources. If you're a working professional, if you're a family, you can engage your money in Krishna service. You can have deity worship at home. You can take people, your own family, for spiritual places, or you can offer some money to a community who is spiritual community or a temple. You can engage your staff, like if you have something that you could engage in service. You can, if you have time, you can engage your time in some service. If you have influence, you know people, you can connect those people with in a spiritual in a community. If you have skills, you can offer it in the service of God. So in this way, so many opportunities are there for all of us to perform yajna. And coming to the big question for the day, this one question at least we will explore today, and we will stop here. How to make my work spiritual? How many of you think is a very relevant question that you have thought about it sometime? I'm going into this Wall Street and dealing with all these finance people, such cutthroat competition, politics, and why am I doing this? Why do I need to do this? How can I make this spiritual? So, yes, we can make all kinds of work spiritual if we have these four things, these four components. The first thing is, let the work be a righteous work as much as possible. We don't know, we may be working for a software company, and what they're doing with the money with, we don't know. We may be working for a client who may be running some other kind of shady business on the side. We don't know all of those things. It's very complicated. But at least our own immediate work, let that be a righteous work. Let it be not built upon a gross direct harming. Like, it's not like selling meat or gambling or something like that, like people selling or buying lotteries or something like that. So something which is like built upon a very intoxicants, like selling liquor and all these kind of businesses. Let's a business be directly at least righteous, because that gives us some peace to be able to become spiritual. And then the next, you get some result from your work. You make money, you make influence, you get some power, you get some people, a lot of results that come from your work. Try to engage it, whatever your ability, try to engage some amount of it at least for a spiritual cause. Don't just be selfish. Not everything I work for and get it, I have to enjoy it, not for anybody else. This is my money, it's only for my enjoyment. Krishna is asking, break that shell little bit, use it for somebody else's benefit. Best is a spiritual cause, and that's our
Hi, Vaira.
thank you, Aditi. And then the third thing you can do is remembrance. So build a way you can remember Krishna throughout the day in some ways. Say you have a lunch break, have 2 minutes of some amount of meditation on something spiritual, just a 2 minutes. But realign your day every now and then, understanding why, who you are, what is your purpose in life. Realign yourself throughout the day. Every 2 hours, just say one prayer in your head, have one thought. If you need a reminder, if you could keep it on your desk, if you're working from home, well and good. If you're going to office, if your office, like, keep something which looks secular but can still remind you of your purpose. If you have a laptop, you can keep something on. If you have a phone, you can surely keep a screensaver or something, because not even 10 minutes goes by without unlocking the phone. So you will at least see every time you unlock your phone, something like that. Create remembrance for you throughout the day, in some spiritual purpose, so that you are kind of anchored every now and then. But do have a spiritual practice in the morning and in the evening. Sandwich your day with spiritual practice in between also, if possible. So throughout the day, little thoughts. You don't need to be overly remembering Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. And no, you don't. If you can't, you don't need to do that. All I'm saying is just a small thought that reorients you among all the craziness that's happening in your day, so that you're peacefully focusing on your life. And then what happens, the most crucial thing out of this four, because sometimes you don't have control on, if your job is righteous, you may be working for a stock exchange who's investing in gambling and meat eating. You don't have control, but don't worry about it. And the results, sometimes you are having already so many EMIs and so many things, you don't have things to offer for others. Okay, that's also not a problem. Your work environment does not just allow you, makes you more crazy, you're not able to, that's fine. What happens when everything is over, said and done, your whole day is done, you're free for the day? What do? Do you spend an hour browsing without knowing what you're doing on the social media, or just wasting your time in so many unnecessary conversations and just like distracted? Sometimes we are physically tired, sometimes we are mentally tired, sometimes we are emotionally tired. So it does not allow us to focus on spiritually. So gradually utilize the remaining time. You have 20 minutes remaining time in a day, after your work, after your responsibilities, after your health, everything. If you have few minutes, do engage it in some spiritual activity. That's where you can show your sincerity, and everything else will follow. How do you use your remaining time after your work? Spiritualize it as much as possible. Gradually everything will come. So make sure your work is righteous directly as much as possible. Try to engage your results. Try to remember during the day, in between, some kind of reminders, reminding yourself spiritual purpose. And then utilize your remaining time. Then naturally you will have a peaceful consciousness where you can take on the work, however hard it is, but not discouraged or disturbed by that. So in this way, you can make your work, whether you're a student, whether you're a working professional, whether even if you're a brahmachari, still life is not just going to be so easy for anybody. So all of us can implement this and can surely benefit from this. What do you do in your own time? How much you are eager to connect with Krishna? We waste time when we have all the time in the world, and then when we have to really do something which is necessary for our maintenance, we crib. Oh, this work is so tough. I'm not able to be spiritual. I'm not able to remember Krishna. And then you get 1 hour and then you're browsing Instagram happily, looking at all the other people who are non-Krishna conscious, what they are doing in their lives every day. It's not necessary. So this is how mind works. That's what Arjuna is experiencing here. When before the war, he was very eager to fight. When the war was there and he can fight and do some big difference, he can make a difference in a society. Now he's thinking, no, I don't want to fight this war. I want to become a yogi. Krishna is saying, you want to become a yogi now, you will go to forest and fight with other sages there because you are a fighter by nature. So utilize your nature with proper understanding and detachment. That will actually lead to a better life. So any thoughts on that question? Because it's a relevant question, you all said. Any thoughts on it? And we can end with that in a few minutes.
How can we identify our nature, like, to utilize it properly?
Nature in terms of skills, or in terms of internal, like I'm an introvert, extrovert, what kind of, there are many aspects to that nature.
I don't know, Prabhu, like,
Okay.
no way that
Okay. There
helps.
are major classifications. Say, for example, personality types. I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. In that also, there are much more shades. Let's not get into it. And then I'm a business person. Just tell me what to do. I can do. Don't, I cannot think anything more than that. Some people are like, I cannot physically do anything. I can do intellectual work. Some people are like, I can manage people well. I can organize things well. Some people see money wherever they look at. So they only see money wherever they look at. So they can be good at business. They can be giving. Some people just want to do counsel. I'm by nature clerical. That's my nature. Like I'm very, means if you understand what is clerical, it's like kind of how do I explain? Like it's more like no, like kind of spiritual knowledge, spiritual counseling, service to society. This is a clerical nature. So and I do have that nature. So this is certain kind of our psychophysical nature. So physical and my mentally, emotionally, we all have different natures. It takes some self-awareness to gradually understand each of it and find our own space in life, in everything that we are doing. So it can does that help you in any way, Parnika?
Yes, Prabhu. I was like trying to like figure out like in what way. Okay, so this is
Yeah,
great.
there are many components to it, and gradually one by one can fall in place, and that's where you find your own space, purpose, and clarity for your life. And it's very important for every one of us to do, even within spiritual life. And believe me, I'm not being cliche. Chanting Hare Krishna will give you self-awareness, that also, because today what I know about myself, I did not go to 9 personality types or enneagram or nothing. I have not read self-help books. I have not gone into any of these things. Just chanting Hare Krishna and following the spiritual practices, you come to the mode of level of goodness. Gradually everything becomes clear, because the eyes are being covered with ignorance. And with spiritual knowledge, when that ignorance goes, we will be able to see reality internally and externally. So I hope that was of some help. So
I
since
just have, sorry.
Yes,
I
Purva.
just
Go
have
ahead.
a last question, but not about this chapter. But can you please give one tip on how to memorize the shlokas from Bhagavad Gita?
Okay. The simple thing is pick up one shloka, write it down in a piece of paper, and every day recite it. And when you recite it, recite the first line 5 times, second line 5 times, and first and second line 5 times together, third line 5 times, fourth line 5 times, third and fourth together 5 times, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So, like this, if you do, surely you will memorize very quickly. Sanskrit is a language of sound. You don't need to understand it, it sits in the memory. So, that's called Ratta. In the traditional Gurukul, also, they will do this because for Sanskrit in young age, it works. A 10-year-old may not understand what is Sarvadharman Parityaja. It takes a lifetime to realize that. But agar andar hoga, if you have it inside, you can pull it out anytime. So that is the importance of memorizing certain things. So you can remember that and you can understand the meaning. The rest of the life is there to analyze and understand the meaning. But when you're young, as much as possible, get the right things inside, fill it with. There are many techniques. That is one technique. Have a sheet of paper, write down one shloka, focus on it, recite it every single day, and initially put a lot of effort in it. Get the sound, get your mind accustomed to the sound, and then read it every day. In a few days, you will be done. Okay, thank you. So Krishna is inspiring Arjuna with Sakama Karma Yoga. He's saying, okay, even if you have desires, do it for the right cause. So last week we saw how we go from karma to karma kanda to Sakama Karma Yoga to Nishkama Karma Yoga. We saw Karma Yoga, the yoga ladder. So that's what Krishna is explaining here. Even if you want to enjoy this world, offer it back to the demigods who are actually giving all the benefits to us. In that way, you will not incur sinful reactions. But the best is do it detached. So I'll stop with this. Just give me 2 minutes. So the lessons that we can learn from this section is be grateful, because gratitude turns what we have into enough, and it turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity. All of us face discouragements, but still, we all have something to be grateful for already. So it can make sense of our past, it can bring peace to our present, and it can create a path ahead. It can create vision for tomorrow. So gratitude is very important. So that is why the simple things like offering it to Krishna, the food, it is not a simple ritual. It can become a deep sense of habit of being grateful for everything that we have. So grateful people are the most happier people in this world. It's not very easy to be, but we don't have an option. If you want to be happy in life, learn to become grateful. Even simple things. Lunch is being cooked by somebody, you can be grateful. Wow, wow, they have put so much effort in cooking this lunch. Somebody did something very small for us. So maybe the lunch is not exactly the menu that we want. We may love to eat Italian, but what is being served is Indian. That's okay. That's one level of but still, at least you can start appreciating with what you have. Then your disappointment will not completely make your life miserable. And the other thing that Krishna is like trying to understand, may help us understand here, is keep in touch. Keep in touch with spiritual aspirations. Keep in touch with spiritual energy. Keep in touch with Krishna. So that way, even if it is a simple food, keep in touch with Krishna. Offer it to God and eat. So it keeps us away from sinful reactions. So these are the two things. Keep in touch. Keep in touch with spiritual aspirations every day. Keep in touch with spiritual energy. Keep in touch with Krishna directly through chanting, offering food, and association like that. And be grateful, because gratitude can turn routine jobs into joy. Your mom asks you, oh, can you just bring a water of bottle? You're like, no, every time you want me to do something else. No, if you are grateful, even that small thing can be an exchange of love. You can make your mom happy, and you will also be happy when you make others happy. It can make ordinary opportunities into blessings, and it can transform common days into memorable days. So that's why it's very important for us to be grateful and think, how do I express gratitude to Krishna and others in my life daily? What ways do I show my gratitude? So these are some thoughts that you could think about. And at last, gratitude begets humility, dissolving the false ego. On a spiritual level, once you're grateful, you become humble, and the false ego dissolves. Then you can chant Hare Krishna with focus. Otherwise, the mind is disturbed. Why this person told me that? Why this person is looking at me? Why did she looked at me like that? What does she think of herself? Why is this person not giving me what I want? So that kind of continuously disturbs us. We cannot focus our attention in chanting. So if we are grateful, it brings up humility, and with humility, the false ego can be removed. So we can reconcile in our heart a lot of things that's happening. So we can peacefully chant Hare Krishna. So thank you all. Next week, we will see verses 17 onwards, and then we will discuss the other important topics like why sense enjoyment actually looks very natural, and how do I overcome temptations. I know what is the right thing to do, but why I'm not able to do this. So these kind of questions we will discuss next week. Extremely grateful for this opportunity. So if anyone wants to share something, ask something, please go ahead.